Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Crusaders of the Lost Idols live stream. I'm Erika, the live services manager for Crusaders of the Lost Idols and the community manager for Codename Entertainment, and I'm joined by lead artist on Crusaders, Kat.
Hello.
So we'll be going over the camping checklist coloring sheets this week, which will be fun. And then we'll be taking questions from the chat.
Yeah. So this one had a pretty big difference between the detailed and non-detailed ones. So let's look into them. This one has some very alternate colors for the characters, like a very black berry, just blending in even more menacing. And bright red squirrel is kind of neat. Like, it really stands out among the rest of the table stuff. This one's nice. Looks like it's actually at night. And a little Gloria hat for the squirrel, which I think is the one taken from the coloring sheet that Gloria was in previously. The gingham pattern is nice and fun. And some glow. Yeah. Oh, and the little tiny Squiggles face. I also like the more subtle sort of well, I mean, that's pretty subtle, but the clothes outside the tent being his color scheme. It's nice. I noticed those things. Oh, and here's a nice pencil crayon one. I like all the different colors in the trees, and just the general attention to detail, like pink shoelaces. Yeah, looks really nice. Oh, and this one also put a lot of effort into, got sort of shading in most places, giving stuff more of a sense of volume, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I really like that color of hot dog.
It almost looks like the real hot dog color.
Yeah, nice raw hot dogs. Yeah, and again, the little glow on the fire looks real good. This one I believe is Zodi's, because they do that semi-transparent thing. I like that they put a little pattern of suns on the plates. That's really cute. And some kind of texture onto the Tupperware. Maybe that's like a salsa or something. That's fun. Yeah. Very nice. Here's a nice sticking to the canon colors. I like the chips bag, the chaps. I think those colors stand out. Oh, excuse me, very nicely. And the dark forest, and putting a little more extra color difference between some like mid-ground grass and background grass. This one's really small, but got some very bright greens and this dark reddish brown. It's it gives it a weird feeling, like not quite surreal, but definitely not real, you know?
Yeah. And then those are some weird hot dog buns. I'm
sorry. Oh yeah, pig buns. Very interesting.
Maybe they're making like the candy dogs from The Simpsons or something.
Oh, yeah. And here's another one that's got some nice coloration on the trees. Makes me think of like acacia. And Penny's eyes are a little scary.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting though. And the chip bags sort of match, which is fun. Another nice sticking to the real colors. I do like that they put in the extra effort of making the bags not just completely see-through. Like they have their own overlay color and some shine and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the extra effort. And nice little shine here. It's small and subtle, but it adds quite a lot to of volume. It's good. Oh, and a sepia tone one. It's kind of nice. Almost makes it more threatening with Barry. Like this is some old photo of and Penny died. Oh, I think that's a duplicate by accident. Here's an AI colored one with a reference up in the top of a
campsite at night kind of thing.
Yeah, campsite at night with a very brightly glowing tent. I don't know what's in there, but it seems almost radioactive. But it's
like an orange tent with just like a super bright LED lamp in it.
Yeah, but it's a very nice color scheme. The orange and blue always play very well together. Yeah, AI coloring is fascinating. Oh, and here's a nice markers one. Picture's a little blurry, which is a shame, but that's okay. Put in the effort to give her some lipstick and shading on the thermos again. The squirrel is green. Squirrel is a master of camouflage.
Yes, it's a chameleon squirrel.
Oh yeah, this one they have scary eyes because they've got, like little pupils. I don't know why, but it makes them kind of scary, and even the squirrel just bugging out a little bit. But I do like this like bright aqua that they used for Penny.
Were Barry's toenails in the original, or is that an addition?
Yeah, they were there because this is the detailed one,
right?
So they just made them stand out quite a lot as being bright white against a darker Barry Ann background. Yeah. Oh, another AI colored one with just like a psychedelic color palette.
Yeah.
Yeah. This reminds me of one of my classmates in art school. Yeah. Oh, and another one with another camping photo reference, but with not quite a stark contrast of colors. I do like this little bit of red that has made its way into certain places. Otherwise, it looks almost like snowy, which you shouldn't be camping. Yes, and I mean, we hear your pleas, and I don't know. I do find this one kind of funny, and I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, no, they got the gate from the dungeon, the idols,
yeah.
and
all
texture
sorts of
in the fire.
Yeah, and Barry just always there, always watching. And that's the last one. So, as always, thank you for your submissions and participation, blah, blah, blah. Today, doing something a little bit different. I sketched out this composition earlier in the week so that I can actually properly start into doing the bits of character. This could become a more normal thing, or can go back the other way, see how people like it or don't. Please let me know. But this is going to be the Gold Hound, and I haven't decided who the humanoid throwing the frisbees is, so feel free to make suggestions. And of course, ask all of your questions of Erika.
It's also kind of cool that you have this sheet sketched because of yesterday with the dog chasing the frisbee.
Yeah! I did kind of have the idea because we were going out and like frisbee had already been mentioned, but right. I did not predict that dog.
No,
it was so cute.
Yeah. So we had a quarterly outing and it had a socially distanced picnic in the park yesterday, and then we broke out a frisbee, and there was a guy walking his dog, well, letting the dog walk off its leash, and it wanted the frisbee, so it chased the frisbee between like 15 throws between the guys, and then who was it ended up Nick maybe ended up walking the frisbee to the owner, so the dog followed him to the owner so the owner could take it and take its leash and walk it home. Which is
definitely
cute.
Seemed like that dog was having fun though, just like bolting across the entire field just about between people.
Yeah. It's one way to get the dogs exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got some regulars in chat. We've got JS Random Numbers saying, hey, Erika and Kat.
Hello.
We've got Castella99, Leptimus, Koani, Zodi. Jabble said, hello, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Zafir Nitrox says, some Animal Crossing and Crusaders. What a great way to start the day.
That is a good way to start the day.
Yeah. We got Bungo Bunts, Slab McLarge Huge, Newbie Doobie Doo, Lexi Ree. Kuani wants me to say moo. Because that's how they do their greetings, with the moo. Xlade asks, hi guys, what's the general timeline for new talents? With dungeons over the last month and a half, we've got quite a idle stack to be spent. We are pretty focused on the Season 2 changes at the moment, so I'm not quite sure where the talents would fit into that, but I have to have a conversation with Kevin later this afternoon about stuff. So, I will have talents on the agenda, at least. Slab McLartude. Can the next tier 11th objective add E600 to normal free plays? So you guys can hit E1700 on normal free plays. I would like to do a cap increase with some of the tier 11th objectives, but I do still want to cap the bonus boss idol gains, just because they do get pretty big in the higher areas. So that's on the design docket of how we can deal with capping those bonus boss idols. Newbie Doobie Doo. Any chance the next event Crusader could be Muffy the Werewolf Destroyer? Aw, that's a play on the Buffy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the next Crusader is finished, and that's not who they are. But it's something we can keep in mind for later times.
But if she's a werewolf destroyer, she would not be a werewolf herself, or would she be killing her own kind? But yeah, we already have emo werewolf for the werewolf role.
Mm-hmm.
Make the humanoid squiggles. Oh.
I mean, I should have seen that coming, and I realized it as I started this drawing. I was like, wait a second, they're just gonna say squiggles. So here's the deal. I've been trying to spread the love, I guess, and just do a Crusader once per coloring sheet. So if you want to burn your use of squiggles on this one, feel free. But otherwise, it can be somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking it might end up being Veronica or Dr. Evil, but if they really want squiggles...
Yeah. I will bow to the masses.
Slab McLartude is asking, can we get a 1 week break between dungeon seasons? I know that has come up before, that players would like a bit of a break, but so far the plan is just to have it start right on the heels of Season 1, because players might still be in dungeon objectives at the time the season ends. But I can ask Kevin how that would work if we tried to give people a break with turning the dungeons off for a week. Cassia says, make the humanoid gold panda.
No, it has to actually be a human character, jeez.
It's the human skin version of gold panda? No.
I did consider, like, I could sneak gold panda into the background somewhere, but I'm trying to keep these more simple. That's another part of this sort of change. I want to stop going getting carried away because when I'm just chatting here with you guys, I just draw what comes naturally, and I am naturally inclined to detail, and that's not great for the coloring sheets, both for other people drawing them or coloring them, I should say, and also for how long they take.
Right.
Because I've got to do all the game art as well.
So, back to the questions. Slab McLartuge, will the sprint additions in the dungeons that were part of the motivation for reducing idle income in the range be added in Season 2? Well, the sprint additions would probably be talents and not just dungeon specific, but it could be something we add with Season 2, depending on how much time we have for updating it, aside from the other parts. Xlade, that brings the question, what kind of stuff can we look forward to in seeing in Season 2 of the dungeons? Well, as I mentioned last week, I think, we'd like to give away some skins with the past rewards, larger amounts of materials. Kat had the idea for epic recipes, because not everyone has full epic recipes for all their Crusaders yet. Yeah, just more and more worth the effort you guys are putting in to actually complete the season. Lexi Reed 26, can we tease the new Crusader for Schoolhouse Scourge?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Next week.
Newbie DVD. Hello, Erika. All hail Kat, creator of the Milgrid voxel skin.
Thank you. I'm glad you like her.
My question is, timetable-wise, would the new talents be showing up before or after the first Tier 6 event? Also, will their initial cost be higher or lower than the final level of the bossing around talent? I mean, we got Season 2 starting, and then the Tier 6 event. So it's possible we might get the talents in there, but it might be after the first Tier 6 event. Have not even thought about cost yet for the idols, but there are some considerations we have in mind when costing them out. Cassius says Muffy was from a previous campaign. I mean, we do have the boss monster Muffy in Schoolhouse Scourge. Is she Muffy?
I forget. I know there's a Buffy ripoff, but she just looks like Buffy, basically.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what we ended up naming her in the game.
It might have been Muffy.
It might have been. Well, then she's definitely human, so she definitely wouldn't wouldn't be a Crusader human-wise for a while. Slab McLartuge, when people refer to Sunday Stroll and Free-for-All as bad, don't take that as uncreative. There's nothing particularly wrong with them. They are just quite unlucky to use for idols. If we are updating them for Season 2, I would say add 2 to 3 slots to them and make them top tier instead. Make people look forward to them. Kawani, I love the Milgrid skin, even stole the animation and used it as my Discord avatar.
Yeah, I saw that. Erika pointed that out, I guess probably day of. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like it so much.
Someone said Zombie Winter is the humanoid throwing the frisbee, as they're both gold Crusaders.
Noted.
Mela Onion says, what Kat is drawing is so cute.
Thank you. Everybody likes dogs. Well, maybe not everybody, but...
Balder549 asks, Kat, is that Goldhound catching a frisbee?
It is. There's Goldhound catching a frisbee and turning it gold.
Ooh.
At least, that's the intention.
And Balder549 also asks, any hints on the next Crusader? Erika, Una was pretty good. Yeah, her blue shift power is pretty cool for completing stuff. Getting those extra few areas out of your maximum number. I'm awake. No, I'm awake. But we'll tease the next Crusaders look next week, right?
Yep.
And I guess since I'm taking vacation, we might end up teasing some abilities. I don't know. Croc360 says, hey, Erika and Kat, hope you guys are having a great week. It's going pretty well.
Yeah, not too bad.
Newbie dooby doo. Cats don't like dogs.
It depends. See plenty of those cute animal videos of cats sleeping on dog brothers and such.
Yeah, it depends on the dog and the cat.
Mm-hmm.
And how they're raised or whatever.
I've never had a dog, but I like them just fine.
I had a dog when I was young, and then when I was living with my dad for a bit, they had my stepbrother's dog with them. He was a fine dog because he was old and he didn't jump on anything. He just lay on his dog bed all day. But not really a dog person. And they sense that, and then they come and say hello.
Aww.
Like when Faith's in the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays, she likes to come say hello.
Faith's well behaved, though.
Pretty well. Michigan Y'all says, my dog had a softball-sized tumor removed and is healing well. Oh, wow. Yeah, glad they're doing well.
Yeah.
Hardball UK says, good morning from across the pond. Thank you for the chests. Hope you are staying safe and having fun.
Trying to.
Trying to.
Yesterday went well.
Yeah.
Going out to the park.
Ian Sam says, I managed to get Una today. In the chest was the first piece of equipment. Thanks. You're welcome. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Balder549 had 2 dogs growing up. Loved those dogs. Yeah.
Nice.
So the summer sabotage event is currently running and will end next Tuesday, August 25th at noon. So you guys have 5 more days to grab all the event Crusaders if you didn't have them, and to continue gearing them up. Newbie asks, might there ever be any chance for Crusaders based on the greatest Canadian comedy series, Cornered Gas? Man, it's been ages since I watched that.
It was a good show. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a very normal sort of show.
Mm-hmm.
Though I guess we have plenty of pretty normal, boring sort of characters that sort of try and take some kind of twist. Yeah, I just don't know, honestly. It hadn't been on our radar beforehand, but it is now, I guess.
Yeah. And keep the request in mind for sure. I think maybe Oscar would probably be the guy to make a Crusader if we made one.
Yeah, really cranky. Just... Or is he too much like Hermit?
Yeah, pretty well. It's all rolled into one. Croc is asking, can we tease the weekend buffs and the golden epic? The weekend promo will be fencing foils for all, with buffs to Mercy, Cindy, Nargog, Euodia, and Una, with a golden epic for Euodia. Xlade, are you guys working on some other avenue of getting materials other than sprinting? Either talents or dungeon rewards could go a long way. Something that rewards materials by going deep could be swell. Yeah, that's part of trying to figure out the game in general, is the material drop rates. Like I said, we did want to put some larger amounts of materials in the past rewards, at least for the dungeons for Season 2. So there would be that. And the getting materials going deep request has come up a lot as well.
So is Zombie Winter the only other suggestion that's popped up?
Aside from Squiggles and Humanoid Gold Panda, I think so.
Okay.
Zombies
Last minute
are fun.
call, I guess. Or I will probably go with Zombie Boy.
Some people in chat are saying I'm a bit quiet, but the soundboard is pretty well maxed, so all I can do is try to talk closer to the microphone. I think. Pretty well. Don't want to blow people out who are... Yeah, pretty well maxed out. Sorry, guys. Newbie dooby doo. Yes, I'd love an Oscar Crusader or Hank.
Yeah, Hank kind of came to my mind because he's definitely the weirdest.
Yeah. Oh, must have missed it. Leptimus suggested emo at one point, and Kuani said Draco.
See, now you're just doing it on purpose. I said humanoid.
Well, I mean, Draco has legs, right? And arms.
Yeah, I guess, but like, guys... I mean, I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Y'all just trolls.
Kuani says, I have had mixed experience with dogs. 2 hunting dogs tried to kill me when I was about 10, and I've had to go to the hospital to get sewn up because a dog bit my hand when I was doing my postal work. Yeah, that's the downside to some dogs.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm glad I've never had that bad an experience with dogs. And then they were also asking for Red Green Crusaders because we were on the Canadian comedy. Maybe Harold if we did a Red Green Crusader. Because he's weird.
I never watched Red Green, so can't contribute to that one too well. But
yeah, well, my dad was into Red Green, so we watched it a lot. And we actually went to a live taping at the CBC's headquarters, so it was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and my dad got to be one of the, like, for the scenes at the lodge at the end, they just pull men from the audience who are wearing plaid, and then they give you the vest, and then you just get to sit on the bench, and then you just get to make the noises. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Cassius is asking, what if the humanoid was Katie? She's in the gold find slot. Newbie dooby doo. I mean, it's obviously the bushwhacker. We haven't done him yet, I guess.
Haven't.
Zerberu says hello again.
Hello.
And Bungo Bunce is also a Corner Gas fan, so they're like Hank having a good hair day, or Hank when he's a corn seller, or Hank as the town's accountant, or Hank in his truck. Yeah, that's all pretty good options. Just Ricky 2, by the way, will you guys look at Willie's kit someday? There was like almost zero reason to use him, really. I think we tried to buff him last year, but we can look again at poor Willie and see if we can get him some more love. Or the whacking bush is the humanoid.
Well, maybe next time I will have a short list and make people vote, because this isn't working out so great.
No. It's Bubba in disguise, but we just did Bubba.
Yeah, Bubba has had his time. All right, let's say a vote between Zombie Winter, Katie, maybe Veronica. There.
Okay.
I see Bungo Bun says go with my heart. I don't know. I'm indecisive. I'm gonna do the background really quick while you guys hopefully contribute.
And just before you called the vote, Leptimus said, well, since the thrower is so distant, it might be Aphelion.
Alright.
But yeah. So, Zombie, Katie, or you said
Veronica.
Veronica.
Because she was kind of the one that I had in mind when first sketching it out, but I wasn't really sold on it, so I don't know.
Why not all three?
Just give them 3 heads. No.
Roundmug is asking, are Nate and Natalie Dragon based on anyone or a movie? Nate Dragon is the joke son of Nathaniel Dragon? No, Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. Because Justin was a big fan of the Uncharted series when we introduced Nate Dragon into Bushwhacker 2. Bushwhacker.
I didn't know he was supposed to be his son.
Or was it the riff? The funny riff? I don't know. But then we gave Nate a father in Bushwhacker, so I'm not sure anymore.
Yeah. Who knows?
I haven't played the Uncharted games, so I don't know like how serious he's supposed to be or if he is supposed to be a joke. Which is why they've got Tom Holland playing younger Nathan Drake. Mortarleg says, will we get a friend Crusader? I'm not the biggest fan of Friends.
Oh, Friends is in the show. I was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean friend? I also never watched Friends, so unlikely, I think.
So, 1 zombie. 1, 2, 3 Katie's, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Veronica's.
Wow, okay. All right. Go with my heart. It will be Veronica.
Oh, Mortaleg was asking about the friend with Goldhound. We've just got it. It's Veronica.
Oh. Well, thanks for your participation anyway.
And Kawani had suggested Groklock, but you just did at work last week, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully everyone will get a coloring sheet someday.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's hard to, there's so many, but we'll see how long this keeps going, basically.
Cerberus with all 3 choices. Croc360 is saying, I know there have been requests of an ability to cancel a mission. Maybe one way to offer this would be that you could cancel a mission, but it would damage one of the Crusaders sent on it. That would discourage using it too much, I'd think. But if you want to cancel it to get a specific Crusader back to use on a specific objective, and they're the ones that get injured. Ooh.
Well, that's the risk you gotta take, I guess.
That would be the risk, yeah. Newbie says Crusader from Friends would be either Rachel, the unemployed runaway bride, or funnier would be Gunther. Sabin 1001. I want a coloring sheet with all the dogs, wolves hanging out and having fun together.
How many is that even? There's Goldhound and Wolf King.
An
and
emo werewolf.
Arguably emo. Are there any others?
Dark Griffin and Gold Panda, but they're not dogs.
No.
No, I think it's just those three. And then all the dragons.
All the dragons would be nice, but there's too many. But I can do at least a couple of them.
Oh, right, Death Poodle.
Oh.
Anjin says, that thing with the candles on it is a dog, no? Oh.
Evan is, well, they're an ephemeral being, so I guess they can be a dog if you want.
And Bunga Bunt says, Aitiaka is like a rock dog.
Maybe a little bit. Dog dino.
Round Mug says, have you folks decided about that tier 6 question you were asking? So in the Reddit Q&A last week, not this week, I asked players what they might like to see happen with tier 6 events. Most of the responses were for more materials and buff old Crusaders. So we'll definitely keep that in mind. And some requests to not have objectives where you can't idle them very well, which Kevin said is why he changed it to have, like, with the Recruit Una mission for Summer Sabotage, is why they changed positions every 100 areas instead of just, like, in the old days, every 25 or every 50 areas. So you didn't have to check on it as often. Yeah, that was some good feedback for helping figure out the tier 6 event direction. And we have some stuff to work on. Zodi, I'd rather have the choice to cancel cost something else, rubies, rather than damaging a Crusader I need for something. Zafir Nitrox, 3 dogs sounds like a Cerberus to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slab McLartude, having been going hard on dungeons the whole season, I'd recommend removing the RNG from dungeon bonus selection and just make it a straight up rotation through all the maps. The randomness is a net negative, as people always remember the terrible runs of the worst maps. And it also hurts the money spending experience where you buy the idle bonus, but then you get a string of bad dungeons, leaves a bad taste in the mouth, as it were. That's fair. It's something we can consider for Season 2 with the rotation of the bonuses. Crocs 360 says, I'd second Slab McLartude's suggestion on just a rotation through dungeons rather than randomness. Just Tricky 2, by the way, it would be interesting someday if you guys would revamp all the Crusaders in a certain slot. I keep looking at slot 17 and 19 and I'm like, be better. Aww. I don't think we would revamp them all at once, but you never know what crazy ideas we will come up with. Baldur549, Erika, have you decided on whether or not you will change dungeon formations for next season? Yes, I would like to change a couple of the dungeon formations. Slavic Latitude for Season 2, I'd say either a rotation of the bonuses or a reasonable way to reroll the bonuses via spending rupees. Xlade, you guys talked about changing the maps in the dungeons. In what way? Change the scaling or just throw another slot in there? The form itself isn't the issue. It's just that they're so much weaker than what we can currently make with the meta. Haven't decided how we're changing them yet. Sorry, it's a bit tired this morning. If we change the scaling on them, then that would be weird. I'm not sure. I'll discuss it with Kevin, see what we can do to make it funner. More to like, I was asking for a Dryad skin a while back. It was nice to see a Dryad Crusader join the Crusade.
Glad you like him. I was wanting to add a Dryad for a while as well, so I was basically just waiting for that event to come up because it fits so well.
Mm-hmm. Kalani says, there's no need to eliminate the objectives, just make them better. Fair.
Thank you for the vague advice.
Newbie yet another suggestion for legendary catalysts, using them to craft a golden idol that can only be used for a special talent only endgamers have access to, even though they're barely a mid-gamer themselves. I mean, that does sound cool, but it would be yet another currency, and I know that some players have said there's a bit too many currencies in the game already, so I would be hesitant to add yet another currency. I mean, we could just do like a legendary catalyst talent tree, I suppose. That might be something that would work. I don't know. Or, you know, just change the cost of legendaries to require more legendary catalysts than the starting one. Slavic Latitude says, don't change scaling, but adding a few slots to them could make them desirable rather than the opposite. No matter what, there will always exist worse maps, so a rotation may be the best, most fair, least annoying options. Oh, that's true. Balder549, it's true, Erika, we have an abundance of catalysts and rubies, we want to spend them. But then Xlade says people who say there are too many currencies are just plain wrong. Oh.
Oh no.
I guess everyone's welcome to their own opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Round mug for new players. One thing that I wished when I got my first Taskmaster was I wished for slightly different behavior when the party wiped. I would have preferred that it hung back by at least one area long enough to gather some gold before stepping on the gas pedal. So I assume you got your first Taskmaster and then immediately plopped it on the auto progress button to keep auto progress engaged? Or... that's what... I assume that's what you're talking about? Sabin 1001. Remove some stuff then. Keep the game fresh by getting rid of old currencies and Crusaders. Ooh.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
No. Not after everyone's gone through the trouble of collecting them. Slavic Latitude. The number of currencies is fine, you just need a better long-term purpose for them. That's a fair point. Just Ricky 2, I'm actually surprised how few currencies there are in the game, but people don't like not having a pile of it day one. I think the one complaint I saw recently was counting each event currency as a separate currency, so they're like, oh, there's also 18 event currencies on top of idols and rubies and challenge tokens and dungeon coins and dungeon points. And
those are so temporary, though.
Yeah, the event currency is fairly temporary. Xlade, I'd love more currencies. I just want a way to spend the ones we have already. Not introducing a new currency means that those of us who are hoarding just get ahead even more when new content with the same currency gets released. That is also something to take into consideration. That's partly why I did do dungeon coins with the dungeon, because not everyone would have a stockpile of dungeon coins. Newbie-dooby-doo, I'd love an exchange market for currencies that fluctuate based on players exchanging stuff. Oh, wow.
It's complex, I think.
Yeah, I'm not that great. I don't do stocks, so I wouldn't know. I've seen other idle games have it, though. Like, I know Tangerine something had a stock market kind of deal. But I'm not sure if that was globally traded or just, like, the algorithm fluctuated through the stock prices and you got to choose when you wanted to buy and sell. Round Mug clarified, yes, I put it on auto progress. It would get into a situation in which they never get gold and just kept wiping and then forging ahead again. True, there could be improvements made to having a taskmaster on auto progress, like at least waiting 15 seconds or something. Bungo Bunt says, I never looked closely enough at Veronica in the game to notice she had digital legs. Cool.
Yeah, Veronica, because I wasn't, she wasn't decided upon exactly. I'm looking at an old banner. Unfortunately, her feet are cut off, but yeah, the legs are
yeah, she's an android, right? So she had parts.
Yeah, an android archer, which is weird because really she's a cyborg, yes. Isn't she? Well, but that's fine. I'm kind of taking some liberties with her actually because she is a much older and simpler one. I know she's one that Adam did, and I feel like a little bit quickly, but I could just be being a judgy.
I remember the fun fact was they weren't supposed to be an elf and an orc for that event. I think they were supposed to be humans or other races, but then Adam's just like, I know I did an elf and an orc. And so we rolled with it.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was fun. Anjin89 says, the balance of getting new people and player retention sure is difficult. I'm fairly new and wish I had the too many catalyst problem. Yeah. Veterans who've opened a lot of jeweled chests and who still do the legendary catalyst missions in the mission system with the talent that increases the materials from material missions. Yeah, they've got tons of catalysts piling up, and also the players who do the trick with getting the free craft tokens. There's also that, which affects the legendary catalysts on hand, unfortunately. Baldur 549, does Veronica have a mechanical arm? I'm pretty sure she does in game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Koani, unpopular opinion, possibly? Have next tier of talents require something that you earn after that point. More currency, so people can't just buy all talents to max on day one. That would be interesting. Xlade, that reminds me, the next season, will there be any rewards for going beyond the cap? It's been a bit depressing capping this season a third of the way through and then never getting anything with all my excess points. Well, you're like one of the major outliers for having hit the season end so early. But that was one of the things I wanted to discuss with Kevin, if there was a reward past level 25 that made sense to feed points into. Chesterkey says, Veronica is just a very nostalgic tier 1. I still like her design.
That's good to hear.
Roundmug, do any of the characters become less useful as the talents reach large numbers, or are they all eventually equal? I mean, the bonus training talent was designed to try and help the earlier bench Crusaders have some extra kick by giving them extra levels, but the way the Crusaders increase per bench seat, the higher bench Crusaders usually end up being the meta in the formation, and some of the support characters from their seats in the 20s are very helpful as well. Xlade, I've got like 4,000 catalysts I'd love to donate, as I currently can't use them. Slamming Large Huge, that currency design concept could also be applied to dungeon levels, as Xlade is asking, having unlimited levels after the ultimate reward that just grow in requirements and reward some static reward every additional level. For example, Xlade could get 5,000 more rubies to add to his pile every 25,000 dungeon points after Reaper. Extra rubies. Interesting. But yeah, that's something we can keep in mind. Croc 360, just increase Xlade's point requirements times 3, problem solved.
Yes, we will program a special game just for you.
Well,
It's extra hard.
Yeah, level 25 is 700,000 points just for one user. Sabin 1001, oh man, could we add a feature that lets you grind up useless Crusaders into the new currency? Aww.
Soylent Bucks are people.
But then you never get them again, and you can't recruit them.
Yeah.
And then people will just be upset forever. Nobody likes irreversible decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Consequences!
Newbie says, if I could trade legendary catalysts for EP, I would be so happy. Cisco51 says, Kat speaks German.
Me?
Yeah, I forget what that was in reference to. You must have said something. Possibly German origin?
I do not speak it. I know like 5 words maybe, because I did live with a German-speaking person for quite a while. But, no, I don't actually speak it.
Slamming Large Huge, joking about the rubies, but it does become a real suggestion if we do give rubies a purpose, which is also fair. Kuani Xlade nerfed confirmed. Aww. Xlade's asking or statement, do materials in a 1-to-1 conversion of dungeon points. It'd give a little extra material gain to the reward being done, but not so much to an extent that you're missing out without pushing. Interesting. Baldur 549, the balance between meta players and beginners, it's gotta be tough to figure out. I mean, the early game is pretty well balanced, and beginners are welcome to try and do the events as they come up, if they can try and get through all the tiers. But yeah, it's more the balancing for the legendary gear is the tough part. GSR, Erika, did you asked Kevin about my suggestion for pink bites for Mindy. It would help us a lot. I did ask him. He's been rather busy. It's on the potential quality of life addition. I would also, I guess you could programmer change the color of the bites, or that would be a ask for art too.
I'm not sure, but changing the color of something is super easy, so it's fine on my end.
Noobie doobie doo. Any teaser of Mindy 2 Electric Boogaloo? That Crusader is on the design list for sometime in the next year, but I haven't decided on exactly when I want to release that yet. Just Ricky 2. There's only like a small handful of Crusaders that are legit unusable, which is still impressive. It's just mostly the bad legendaries. Anjin 89, about the events, there is no way for new players to do most variants in some free plays with the lack of time warps. Is there a strategy I'm missing out on? Time warps drop from chest openings, or the dual chest openings, so opening normal dual chest or event dual chests should not use some time warps. Yeah, there's the head start talent too. And like, we only expect players to be able to do 2 or 3 tiers in event tops. So if you do have enough warps to power through and do all the tiers in an event, that's pretty impressive. Croc 360, speaking of colors, having a phase indication when phase shift hits, kind of like the sprint indication, would be pretty nice. Yeah, it was on the quality of life update list for the one a couple weeks ago, but Kevin said it would need art to make the letters for phase look fancy, so I dropped that because we were crunching on art at the time.
Yeah, I can think of the sprint notification, and it's not a terrible ask, but right now is not a good time.
Yeah.
Add it to the list.
Balder 549, any revisions to the missions tab upcoming? Would love some new missions. Yeah, that's still something I would love to add as well. It's on the list after season 2 of the dungeons and the talents. X-Laid. There has already been an X-Laid Taxis event. It took me 95 chests to get Una to ×3 legendaries. Yeah, that's some rough luck this time around. Just Tricky 2, it's hard to even use half of the mission slots. I need more available missions. Which is fair. We do have a lot of spare Crusaders who could be sent on missions. I think the mission adrenaline talent is additive, so it wouldn't hurt to have like the possibility to run 40 missions at once. Because yeah, it's just an additive stack. It's just coming up with what we want the rewards to be, and there were some other tweaks to the cooldown system that we want to make before we add some new missions as well. Newbie Dooby Doo says Mindy 2 Electric Boogaloo was sprint chest farming? Oh, interesting. Newbie Dooby Doo also says it's nice getting Mildred, but Dr. Elmquist still seems to be better than her for them anyway. Oh, that's cool.
Gasp. Thought she'd never be dethroned.
Yeah. Lots of yes, more missions. Just Ricky 2 says my peak was like 54 this whole week with 120 Crusaders to send on missions. So that's less than half of the available. Fair. Stormcrow 69, just no more gold missions, please. Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking of adding gold missions. Just more EP missions, and players have requested that there's a chest mission that just gives random event and weekend promo chests. So that was also something I was going to look into. Newbie-dooby-doo. The secret strategy for getting time warps is sprint chest farming to try and get all those jeweled chests. X-Laid, the golden legendary hat. Mildred gives like 1 E93 towards the end of a dungeon run. She's forever scaler. We won't get rid of her until difficulty scaling gets changed. Baldur 549, Mildred and Mindy forever. Cassius, Mindy 2 needs to be able to dupe equipment. Maximum of 3 equipment at a time from up to 3 Crusaders. Unlikely, given some of the powers of equipment. Newbie-dooby-doo. Event chest missions seem like they would require a lot of EP to run. I mean, I don't think they need to cost like tier 5 recruit mission EP level, but could. Just tricky. Mildred and Almquist both have their uses. Almquist for gold and semi-regular use. Mildred for big dungeon boys and people without Evan. Oh, that's true. And Croc360 says, by the way, love Voxel Mildred. Great work, Kat.
Thank you. Always nice to hear.
So somehow it's 11 already.
Mm-hmm. So I think this little experiment went well because I finished the whole thing. So if people are happy seeing me drawing from a beginning stage already, with the groundwork already there, and then going into it, I think might try and do that from now on, because then you get to see the finished product on stream, and I can focus on making the composition make sense and not be too overly complicated.
Right. So that's been our show for Thursday, August 20th, 2020. It was episode 30.
Oh man,
of the
milestone.
Stream. Yeah, no, that's totally crazy. Yeah, chat likes your ideas, Kat.
Great. Good to hear.
So Summer Sabotage event will end Tuesday, August 25th at noon. The Fencing Foils weekend promo with the Golden Epic for Iodia. The coloring sheet challenge is now live on the Reddit. Sorry about the delay in getting the new sheets out. Thanks to Jay behind the scenes for catching all your questions in chat and moderating. And thank you, Kat, for being here. And thank you, community, for being awesome. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.